The Mr. Charlie originated with Navy World War II veteran Alden LaBorde, who believed a self-sufficient oil rig could be placed on a barge for deeper offshore drilling. LaBorde's Mr. Charlie, the world's first mobile offshore drilling unit, termed MODU, M-O-D-U, has since served as a glimpse into the past of the modern energy industry. In 2012, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, recognized the significance of offshore platforms, designating Mr. Charlie as an ASME Historic Mechanical Engineering Landmark. When the barge drilling platform Mr. Charlie left its New Orleans shipyard for the Gulf of Mexico on June 15, 1954, it became the world's first MODU drilling unit. Using advanced technology, the self-sufficient Mr. Charlie went to work for Shell Oil Company in a new oil field in East Bay near the mouth of the Mississippi River. A reporter from Life magazine covered the launch, noting the new singularly monstrous contraption could drill a 12,000-foot hole at a different location every month. Mr. Charlie offered an exploration alternative to erecting permanent pile-supported offshore drilling platforms to be tendered by utility boats. Kerr McGee had pioneered this approach with the Kermac No. 16 in 1947, but Mr. Charlie could drill in waters twice as deep and then move to another site. The ASME declared that the vessel was the first offshore drilling rig that was fully transportable, submersible, and self-sufficient, allowing it to drill more than 200 oil and gas wells along the Gulf Coast between 1954 and 1986. Previous submersible drilling barges were limited to shallow bayous and estuaries where waters did not exceed 15 feet. Using ideas that dated back to a 1928 patent by Louis Gilasso and updated in 1952 by John Hayward, the new design came from a young U.S. Navy World War II veteran and marine engineer who had recently joined the offshore industry, Alden LaBorde. He believed a self-sufficient oil rig could be placed on a barge and floated in deeper offshore waters for drilling wells. However, LaBorde struggled to find companies in Morgan City willing to risk investing in this concept. Even the company where he worked as a drilling superintendent, Kerr McGee, a leading offshore innovator in barge drilling, turned him down. LaBorde's boss thought the idea looked good on paper, but told him, "There are too many unknowns. You have ocean currents, shifting bottoms, hurricanes, and many other factors that just would not allow this idea to work as planned." The new offshore exploration concept was revolutionary, too much so for all the major companies involved in the oil and gas industries. Construction on Mr. Charlie began in 1952 at Alexander Shipyard in New Orleans and was completed in late 1953. Mr. Charlie would go on to drill hundreds of wells, a cumulative of 2.3 million feet, all up and down the Gulf Coast for Shell Oil as well as other oil companies. Fortunately, LaBorde found support from veteran oilman Charles Murphy Jr., owner of an independent oil company, Murphy Oil, from El Dorado, Arkansas. Murphy backed construction of the revolutionary vessel, which would be named after him, Charles Murphy Sr., therefore the Mr. Charlie. The first customer would be Shell Oil Company. LaBorde formed the Ocean Drilling and Exploration Company, ODECO, O-D-E-C-O, and contracted with Alexander Shipyard to build the Mr. Charlie, a barge 220 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 14 feet deep, supported the drilling platform. The platform was 60 feet above the barge. The drilling vessel was the first mobile offshore unit and a springboard for many new offshore technologies for drilling deeper wells. Described as an independent island and nearly totally self-sufficient with a crew of up to 58, Mr. Charlie drilled hundreds of Gulf of Mexico wells for the next 30 years, retiring in 1986. By the mid-1980s, the offshore drilling activity had moved beyond 40-foot water depths, rendering Mr. Charlie ineffective for larger projects. An effort to preserve Mr. Charlie was led by Morgan City oilmen and former workers on the Mr. Charlie. It now serves as an educational museum and training facility. The ASME declared the vessel was the first offshore drilling rig that was fully transportable, submersible, and self-sufficient. Previous submersible drilling barges were limited to shallow bayous and estuaries where waters did not exceed 15 feet. The Mr. Charlie has been preserved on the banks of Louisiana's Atchafalaya River near Morgan City as the International Petroleum Museum and Exposition. It's very interesting to tour through the rig and see how people lived on the rig back in the early 1950s. It's a worthwhile tour.